Hi guys, this is Mary Fulton Fit, or this is Mary Fulton with Mary Fulton Fit, and tonight it is Wellness Wednesday. So we are going to be talking about problems and how to quickly solve them. So I'm going to give you 7 quick tips on problems and how we can quickly solve them. So grab a friend, tag somebody, let's get this show on the road. And if you are here, give me a yes. I'm ready to learn some quick tips on problem solving. This will be a quick video. Grab your pens and papers. Let's take some notes, or grab your phone and take notes there, okay? Let me just put join us for everybody. Okay, guys, so let's get started. So problems happen every day. Hi, Maggie. How are you? So good to see you guys. Yeah, throw up some hearts. Let me know you're here, and let's get interactive. Do you guys like these? Get interactive with me and chat with me while we are live, okay? And if you have questions, throw them up on the board, and I will definitely get there. So we all have problems every day. And I'm going to first start out with saying I have not... figured this all out myself, but this is something that I am working through with myself. So let's get started and talk about problems, and we can share stories and all this fun stuff. So problems are a part of life. Raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you had one problem today. 1 to 5 different problems happened today, right? Put up those thumbs up. I know that they happen. They are a part of life. But for some reason, we just sometimes expect problems not to happen. And when problems happen, we get overwhelmed, right? And that's what we're going to talk about. So problems are a part of life. And when we start to notice and really realize it and accept it, then that's when we can actually grow and not get stuck. So problems are what help us grow, and they are what help us, expand and become better. But sometimes problems bring fears on, fears that we can't overcome these things, or all kinds of stuff. So when a problem happens, we think it's a bad day, when really it's just a day, right? With some challenges in it. So, and if you think about it, if we didn't have any problems and everything was perfect, we would probably be bored, right? Can I get a thumbs up for that? Probably be bored if there was no problems to solve. All right. So the basic foundation of how to handle problems is, number 1, deal with inevitable problems that will happen. They're going to happen. You didn't expect it. And they're getting in the way of you succeeding, right? That's what happens to us, right? So you're like, hey, today I've got my list of things I'm going to do. And all of a sudden, boom, something happens. Let's give myself, for example. I was working on the computer today. My kid didn't want to listen and do his virtual learning. I got an email that another one was getting in trouble in class. These weren't problems that I wanted to take on today. I had my tasks at hand and what I wanted to do, and many things were happening. So let's talk about problem solving. I'm going to give you this one right here. Here's this beautiful nugget of knowledge. So listen quickly. Problem solving. Learn to spend 80% of your time on the solution and 20% on the problem. Listen to that again. This is quoted by Tony Robbins, okay? To spend 80% of your time on the solution instead, and 20% on the problem. Usually we flip-flop them, don't we? We do, right? And somebody once told me, Rachel Cooper, she said, be a solution finder. And I was like, oh, and a problem solver. And that's what she teaches her kids. And I was like, oh, I really like that. I didn't think about it like that. But so 80% of the time on the solution. Then, so if you do that alone, it's going to change your life. It's going to change my life. When the problem happens, my car breaks down. Instead of whining and complaining about why it happened to me today and how overwhelmed I feel with the rest of my life, why don't I just figure out I need to call AAA, right? That's going to be a lot more simple, and I found the solution to the problem instead of just getting overwhelmed by it, right? Yes, and how we solve problems shape us into who we are. I love that, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing that. What makes little problems, you guys, into big monsters is when we spend all of our time spinning our wheels over and over again about what the problem is. Can I get a thumbs up or a yes in the chat box if you've done that with a problem before? I understand that as humans, and probably as women, we like to talk a lot and express how we feel about things. And I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing. Sometimes we need to share our feelings. But if all you're doing is spinning your wheels about how bad your problem is, you're just wasting all your energy on that. And I've done this so many times. And my cousin would say sometimes, don't drown yourself in a glass of water, right? And I love that because that's totally what it is. Drowning yourself in a cup of water. When instead of sitting there and thinking over and over again how bad the situation is, when you start to think a little bit differently. So switching those gears, okay? So how do we do it? Well, first, identify what the challenge is, okay? And don't look at it so much as a problem. Look at it as a challenge, right? All of us grew up playing video games, right? Most of us. And weren't you like, okay, who played Mario Brothers? Give me a thumbs up, right? Dude, you had to get the princess, right? And that was the challenge. You had to beat Bowser in the castle, or King Koopa for me, because I'm kind of old. You had to beat King Koopa to get the princess. And why would you spend, hours in the day trying to beat it, right? If it was just easy, you wouldn't have done it. It was something about that challenge. And when you face those challenge, thinking about it a little bit differently, instead of a problem, right? It was a challenge and you wanted to take on that challenge and beat it, right? So identify what the challenge is first and what do you need to do to turn it around. So being a solution finder, right? So remember the power of questions. So quick, all right? So I'm gonna give you these 7 steps. Let's get through these really quick. Remember the power of questions. If you keep asking yourself, why do these problems happen to me? Why is it happening now? These questions are going to whip you into an emotional, frenzy. And all of a sudden, you are drowning in your glass of water. And you don't need to. So staying in those questions that are just looping aren't going to get you anywhere, right? There's no answer. Why is my car breaking down right now? Why aren't my children listening? Why is this person sick that I love so much? These are looping questions. We don't sometimes know the answers. So that's not going to help. So problem solving comes from controlling your focus. So boom, let's start here. Number 1, problem solving comes from controlling your focus. Write this down. Expecting an answer and knowing what you want in terms of change. I'm going to say them again. So problem solving comes from controlling your focus. Boom. So right now you're in a solving mode. Expect an answer. What's the answer? Okay? And knowing what you want in terms of change. Okay? So let's do an easy one. My 6-year-old is really having a hard time focusing on his virtual learning. I don't know if anybody else is struggling with this stuff out there, but I'm trying to run a business and man, these kids, and then today I had a dog at my house and it was crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go nuts, right? So taking a breath and thinking about, wait a minute, instead of getting overwhelmed and going into that mode, what are some things I can do to help my child stay focused? Finding a new spot for him, making him a desk, making sure that he sits still, maybe putting on a timer for him for the time that he's going to be in that class. These are solutions that I can start thinking about. Instead of going into anger mode, I go into angry state because I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. And my kid's not listening to the teacher and learning his Espanol and I'm freaking out, right? So there we go. So I need to find the solution. So knowing what you want in terms of change, trying something, okay? If that doesn't work, notice if it works or not, then change your approach. This is how simple it is. But I don't know why I'm always drowning in my glass of water. Again, control your focus, expect an answer, know what you want in terms of change. So now you already have your goals, right guys? Try it. Does it work? Is it working for you? No? Okay, so change your approach and do something that works better for you, right? Yes, set him up for success for sure, Jen. I love it. Okay, here's another thing. Role models, guys. In the old days, people didn't, we didn't have social media and stuff, and there wasn't even like as many books on self-help. But you know what people did? They went and talked to their grandma. They went and talked to their grandpa. They talked to their great aunt. People had conversations with older people that went through it. Guess what? We should still do that, and reach out to community, to different people who are going through, who have already walked your path or something close to it. And And that's going to help just getting a role model with you that's going to be able to help build you up and get you through it so you don't feel so overwhelmed. And also, here's some role model thinking. How can I turn this problem around? What's the quickest way to turn it around? What's the fastest way I can turn this around and have fun while doing it? And how can I learn from this while I quickly turn this problem around and do it? Find a role model. Think of these problem-solving questions. Did you hear them? How can I turn this around? How can I quickly turn it around and have fun with it? How can I turn it around and learn something from it? Instead of being like, today I was being super negative. I was like, this virtual learning, I am so done with it. It just stinks, right? Oh, well, that was great, Mary Fulton. You really solved that problem, right? So changing that, what would be a way I could change that? What can I say differently, right? Like you said, set him up for success, right? So thinking outside the box and saying, oh, how can I turn this around? All right, you know what, Cliff? We're not going to do school in the living room with your brothers. It's not working. Let's take you and make a little desk for you in a special place where you're going to feel really ready to go. All your pencils and pens are there and you feel successful, right? Okay, so let's keep going. So now, here is the other thing. Okay, so we kind of talked about this already, but when you get in this mode, you are in a state of overwhelmed, right? So give me a yes in the chat box if you've ever felt overwhelmed. Give me a yes. I need a yes. All right? Somebody out there has been overwhelmed with me. One of you 6 people that's live with me. Okay? So your inherent ability to deal with virtually any problem gets like squashed when you get overwhelmed, because it's almost like you're drowning, right? And you don't know where to go. You can't think straight. So you need to learn to do 2 things when you get into that state of overwhelmed. Number 1, your brain is an amazing machine, right? It's so used to habits and changing things. So what you need to do, like we've talked about before, is attaching massive pain to being overwhelmed. Tell yourself that you know that when you get overwhelmed, it's massive pain, and then switch it and teach yourself that pleasure comes from solving a problem, right? Oh my gosh, how much pleasure did you get if you could beat King Koopa and save the princess? Now I'm talking to my oldies out here who played, the real old Super Mario Brothers. But, right, you didn't think about, like, you wanted to get to that challenge because it was amazing that you could take it on and you could tell all your friends that you made through the challenge, that you beat the level. So why is it that when we go through something hard, we get so discouraged instead of taking it on like a new level, right? And changing things. So teach yourself that pleasure is from solving a problem, right? Yeah, me too, right? Yeah, Kyla. And then remember that it brings satisfaction. Okay, can you think of a time that you solved a problem, big or little, and you felt satisfied when you finished? Give me a thumbs up or a heart. You felt satisfied when you completed it, or you felt pride and accomplishment when you did it. Come on, let's go. You know what? Teaching a kid to read in class when I was a kindergarten teacher, like my first student that was able to, that was struggling with reading. Wow, that was amazing. Was it hard? Yeah. But it was like, I took that challenge on and said, I need to do this because I want to help them, right? So it's really just that change, right? I could look at it as like, oh my gosh, when I was teaching kindergarten, these kids don't know how to read or their letters. What am I going to do? Right? But instead you look at it as a challenge. That's my job, to teach them, to take the challenge on and to take sense of satisfaction and pride by teaching them something, right? Hi, there's everybody. Yeah, Rose, what's up? Okay, so most important aspect of solving a problem is, number 1, manage your state. What is a state? A state is your feelings. Nervous, happy, mad, sad, angry, right? Overwhelmed is that state that you get into when a problem comes and you don't know what to do with it, okay? And you get stuck in, going in looping circles, right? So you gotta stay out of overwhelmed. But Mary, how do I stay out of that? It's where I go. It's my habit. You're right. Me too. I go straight into it, and I know because my son Skippy's like, why are you being mean to everybody in the house? You're just grumpy. What's going on? He calls me on it, and I'm like, because I'm doing that same habit of going into overwhelmed, and then I start to get angry. So you got to stay resourceful, and no matter what the situation is or how tough it is, you got to remember that you can get through it. Think about all the challenges that you've gone through and the crazy hardships that you've gone through. I mean, I'm sure you guys could all list one thing that's like super hard and crazy that you went through that you forgot about right now. You know, maybe it was like getting that first job, or maybe it was, like you were living in a little apartment and you couldn't even pay your rent. Like, I remember those things, not having like $32 in my bank account and not sure if I was going to make it to the next month, right? But I got through that. Got through my dad's passing. I got through just so many challenges, and so we are resourceful. God has given us those gifts. We just have to turn it around, and we have to trust ourselves too, right? You have to trust yourself. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt that, you got a flat tire, the power got cut off at home, and, I don't know, something else went wrong. You stepped in gum. But at the end of the day, is that really your worst day? How many other beautiful hundred of things were happening around you in that moment, right? So like today, I have a lot of heavy stuff going on. Like, my father-in-law is really sick, and we're going through all this heavy stuff. But as much as I'm going through this heavy stuff, and I'm trying to problem solve with my kids and all these things, beautiful other things were happening today. Number one, I was alive. Number two, my kids are all healthy and here. It's hard to do virtual learning, but it's also amazing that I get this time with my children. I got my order delivery for my business. My business is growing. That was a plus. There's always great things happening. And so remembering that, these challenges are going to happen. Don't look at them as problems. Look at them as challenges, and don't give up. And don't go to this state of overwhelm, because when you get in that state, you won't be able to do anything. You're paralyzed. So focus. Define the problem. Okay, boom. So let's say today a whole bunch of stuff hit you like a wave, and maybe it really is a tough day. You got fired, you got dumped, you don't have any money in the bank. I mean, we're going all out. Your car broke down. That's a bad day. It's probably happened to somebody out there, right? But if we get into that habit of learning how to solve our problems instead of, solving them emotionally by other things, food, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, right? Define the problem. So here it is. Define your problem and write it down. So write down the problem, okay? And then listen to this. This is super important. Only spend 20% of the time when you're writing down the problem on the problem. So really quick, all right, define the problem. Cliff doesn't want to do school time, right? He's struggling to listen and pay attention. Boom, that's enough information. I don't need to go on and say, I'm so tired of him because he doesn't listen to me and he's not going to learn anything. And oh my gosh, he's not going to learn Spanish or English. He can't read, he can't write. And here I've gone into an oblivion. Nope, right? So only 20%. The rest of the time, focus on the solution. So Cliff is having a hard time paying attention during virtual learning. Boom, that's my problem. How can I solve it? Jen said it. Create an environment where he can learn. How can I do that? What can I do, you guys? Come on, help me out. Be problem solution finders for me. Let's go. Help me out. This is my problem right now. I can't get him to, he shuts off the computer and runs out when I'm not paying attention if I go to the bathroom or I do something. Give me a solution. Come on, you're creative. Throw them out there. Let's practice this together, because this is how you're going to do it with your own problems. I need you to help me find a solution. Throw them in the chat box. What can we do for Cliff? Help. Somebody help. Come on, throw me a life jacket. Something. Nobody wants to interact with me? All right. Do I got to come up with these on my own? All right, it's okay. So for me, I'm going to find him a little desk, which I have one, and I'm going to make a little space for him and make it all creative. Yes, a reward. Thanks, Wendy. Okay, so give him a reward. Maybe for finishing the day strong. Maybe it's a positive, like you're going to play a game with mommy, right? I love that. Okay. All right, here's the next thing. So you come up with the best way to handle it and do it as quickly as you can. Don't wait. All right? Momentum carries power, but inertia binds you to stagnation. Listen to that again. Momentum carries with power, and inertia binds you to stagnation. So when I get off this call, I'm going to set up that area I talked about because it's for Cliff and it's going to help him. And I already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a desk in my living room, and that's going to be his little spot, and I'm going to make it all cute so he feels like he's at school. And it's a real school. Okay? All right, awesome. So let's keep going. Number 4, notice when you're getting from the present action closer to the solution or more of a challenge for yourself. So you also need to sit, is it working? Maybe tomorrow I try the desk and he's still flustered. So I gotta what? Reassess and find another way. So that's the thing with a lot of our challenges is we give up. Maybe you decided to lose weight and you tried the keto diet and it didn't work, and so you just give up because you're not good at doing this stuff. That's not true. That didn't work for you. So now you got to pivot. It's just a pivot, a small pivot, and change the approach and try something else until you find the right approach for you, right? I've tried lots of different diet plans and none of them work for me. And, later I was able to find the 21-day fix that helped me, just looking at clean eating and monitoring my veggies and proteins, kind of like macros. That works for me, okay? So be flexible too, and be ready and open to listening to others. So if you have a problem and you're trying to find solutions for it, bring it to the table to your role models. Tell them, hey, you know what? My kid is struggling with virtual learning. What are you doing? Okay, and instead of shutting down ideas, be open to all of them. Oh, you put your kid outside and lock the door? Okay, just kidding. Oh, you do this? Okay, maybe I'll try that. Take in as many ideas as you can and try as many as you can. Maybe try the one that you don't think is going to work. Have you ever been to the store and you saw the most beautiful outfit or dress? I'm talking to the ladies. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's going to look amazing on me. But you go to put it on and it doesn't. But then there's this ugly one that looks like a, paper bag. And you put that thing on and it's the most amazing dress you've ever put on in your life. Yes, yes. Can I get some yeses or hearts? I know that this has happened to women out there. It's totally true. Sometimes something can look like it's the perfect fit for you, but it really isn't. It's this one over here, and it works the best. So being flexible, being open to listening to others' ideas, right? Okay? And then create new possibilities. And it's good for us to be flexible too and not stuck in our own ways. Because guess what? Everybody out there thinks differently. God made us all so unique. And then guess what? He made us unique, and he made our families unique. All of us are in a different home, experiencing life in a totally different way in our own little home culture. And then we come out into the world and we all mix together and we all have ideas and differences, but they're not bad. They're beautiful because they come together, right? Give me 1 second. Hey guys, I'm doing a video. Can you please close the door? Thank you. Aw, mom life with 3 crazy boys. Okay, so here we go. These are all the things. That's it. Get role models. And then the last one, the 7th one, is change your belief about problems. Don't even call them problems anymore. Call them challenges. And sit with it. And really think about loving the challenge. So when something comes to you, instead of, oh, I got a message from a teacher today, and I wanted to get super frustrated. And then I realized there's a barking dog in my house right now too, that, you know what, I'm not going to get all crazy about this. Like, okay, my kid's struggling with virtual learning. He's logging out of the computer. Okay, we're just going to address the issue. We're going to work through it instead of me going super angry and being very frustrated with my kid because he's not doing what he needs to do. Guess what? He's a kid. And virtual learning is hard. All of this has been hard, and it's different for each person. So I'm going to take it as loving the challenge, and we're going to grow as a family and, as mother and son, instead of me, coming down on him, just working through it, right? So look at it as a challenge, not a problem. Look at your life as You know that you're going to have these challenges coming, and just take one at a time and think about finding the solution instead of focusing on the problem. And I think all of these things together, boom, if we can do them and learn to get better at them, we will just live in more appreciation and learn more and be more flexible and more open to life in general. And we'll be able to get through the waves of life. Have you ever sat down with an older person? They're so wise. And you're freaking out about something, and they grab your hand and they say, it's okay. It's going to be okay. It's okay that you made that mistake. It's okay that this is happening. Like, just take a breath. It's life. Enjoy this. And they live more in gratitude. They live more in the moment, and they don't focus on those problems and get so uptight about the little things. Yeah. I think that we can learn a lot from our elders. They have a lot of knowledge and wisdom, so don't forget to go there too. And I see some questions up here. Let me look at this. Try a reward system. Yes, after a good day. Try to keep him motivated. Yes, space of his own. Rewards. Do you hear all my kids screaming, guys? And then praise him for doing good and not to focus on what he's doing wrong. I like that. I pulled up a chair at his desk and acted like I was a student. Oh, I like that. Don't give up. God doesn't give up on him, and he doesn't give up on you. So continue to work with him. I love that. Yes. I let her take breaks and turn assignments in the evening. They need to play and get the wiggles out. Oh my goodness. I love it. You guys, so good. So what we learned, just to recap, because there was a lot of information, and you can go back and write it down. But remember that problems, don't get stuck in the state of being overwhelmed. Get yourself out of it. Be a solution finder, okay? So 80% on the solution, 20% on the problem. And then just remember to think about identifying where your focus is, what you want your outcome to be, and then what things you need to change. And then when they don't work, change them again until you find the right approach, because it's not always easy, right? And so it's better to just keep working at it. And I think at the last thing, don't look at, be flexible, be open to listening, and then remember that problems are going to be here every day, so it's nothing new under the sun, and just look at it as a challenge that's going to change you and make you grow, instead of that it's wrecking your life, right? Look at those two different views. This is wrecking my life and messing me up, versus, oh, it's a new challenge. I can grow and learn from it and be better, right? Yay! So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much for coming. Hey, Cliff, can you be quiet? Yeah, like he's going to be quiet, right, guys? Thank you so much for coming and visiting. Please share my channel. Please share these tips and tricks and use them in your life. And when you do, please tag me and share a story with me. What worked on the problem solving today? And what worked tomorrow, whatever day you are on. Thanks so much, you guys. Have an amazing day. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.